Hello, hello, hello. How are you guys doing? Hopefully, some people pop in. You're always welcome to say hello. Love to know where you guys are coming from. And then in a minute, so I will do got some good news coming. Good idea. So this is going to be recorded. So if you miss part of it, you can always go back and watch it later. But yeah, we're going to be doing the full moon, but we're also going to talk about the retrograde and what's as well, and then we'll go into a read. All right, because I like to do the astrology first. You'd be really, really surprised at how much the planets play into things more than even the cards. For many of you who don't know me, my name is Patty, and I do intuitive tarot. It's mostly divine driven. I do my tarot by having downloads from divine or the second dimension, and I'm really careful who I allow to enter, because sometimes other um, spirits want to come through. How that I go to the divine driven, but I also do astrology. Astrology, so astrology, I've really gotten into more and more just because of the way that the planets are, the way that things go. So that's why I started doing the full moon and the new moon readings, to help you guys understand what's going on with you. So, hey, Felix, welcome. So, if you, this is really a cool month. Here's why: because we have two new moons, not full moons, two new moons in the month of January. So we had one on the 2nd, and then we have one on the 31st. So it's almost on the cusp, but here's the thing: in we have two new moons in this month. We have a full moon in this. And then next month in February, there's no new moons. It's not a really common thing to happen. And then in March again, we have two new moons again. So this, as the astrologers say, it's just not a common event. Not a big deal. It's just because it's the lunar calendar that it's about. It's not about the astrology part, because the planets are going to keep moving. Doesn't matter what day of the year it is, how humans do time. But the thing is that it's a very interesting pattern that doesn't usually happen. Okay. So the reason why I want to talk about the retrograde and what's going on with Uranus and out there is because these energies are going to play more into what's going on with full moon. So we have two retrogrades going on right now. One started January 20. Let's no, excuse me. We have Venus retrograde going on right now, and then Mercury retrograde just started on the 14th. So Venus is in Capricorn, and it went direct on December 19th. So why is that important? It's because it lined up with Pluto and it created different energies at that time. Okay. So we've gone through, I think we're going through three different times with Venus happening. What does this mean to you? Okay, I really don't want to do astrology, but I just want to know what's going on with the energies. If you remember back into late December, things really started to get in depth. Things really started to, if you look back at that, were the energies actually some bringing things and bubbling up to the surface? Were things sort of arising that you've sort of not talked about or kept secret, or it was, or your feelings were more intense about something, whether it was good or I don't believe in good and bad, whether they were to help you with a lesson that needed to be fixed or corrected, or were they energies of intense energies and feelings and emotions of maybe love. Okay, those are really, really key with what's going on. Mercury retrograde retrograded back into the Capricorn energy on the 14th. So this can, and it'll keep going through February 3rd. So what does that mean for us right now? It means a couple of things, because we also have Saturn and Uranus. Uranus is a big planet that's going to be really a focal point with these energies, with the full moon, because it goes direct on the 18th. And I'll share with you what that means in a second. All right. But let's focus on this Mercury retrograde, because a lot of people, if you don't know what Mercury retrograde is, Um, Planets go in a usually a one-way motion that's called direct. Okay, but if it's a retrograde, it sort of goes back and then forth. So it goes into retrograde, then it goes to so it goes in a backward and forth. What happens is depends on what planets are moving in that direction and around it. That's why you'll hear squares and conjuncts, sextiles, that kind of is that how that energy is portrayed. However, when you have Mercury, Mercury is a planet of communication. So we have a lot of communication, maybe issues, things are more intense. Maybe you're not getting your words out right. Maybe somebody's misunderstanding. So it's really, really important with this Mercury retrograde to be really careful in how you share your words or how you use your words, but also, too, it's the depth of your words. So I think last month I was saying, what was it? Say, gosh, see, it doesn't matter because it's past. But the thing is, you want to say what you mean and mean what you say. Thank you. I appreciate that. Um, Drop thought. So those are the things you want to say what you mean. And if they're not getting it and they get sort of this inquisitive, like deer in headlights, like, flip are you talking about? They just don't understand because this communication glitch that is going on. Okay. And the part of Uranus that mixes in with this is more of an intensity of psychology. So if there's something deep, deep at your core that needs to be worked on, and these things are going to bubble up in the surface up through February 3rd when Mercury retrograde goes. Now with this full moon here that we're talking about in a second, you'll see why. Okay. So, and the thing is that the outside planets are usually moving faster. So these planets usually have a stronger effect on these energies, but things are really sort of, when you have a retrograde, things are slowed down. So when Mercury slows down in a retrograde, it is almost not even moving 1 degree in a few days, let alone move a degree a day or 3 degrees a day or whatever. So, what does that mean to you? It means that this energy is super powerful, it is packed. Okay. And so, you really want to pay attention to things that are around you that deal with communication or people. It could be also your computers. Your computers might be having more problems, your telephone or whatever it is, anything to do with technology or communication. All right. So, with that, with the retrograde, with Uranus, with Venus, and all these planets, I'm not going to go into the squares and sextiles and conjuncts and anything like that. Now, if you guys want me to, then you just put it in the comments and I'll go ahead and start doing that. However, a lot of people don't study the astrology, they just want what's happening with energies. Full moon. Full moons are intense anyway, but what's happening around them is the key. Where the sun is alignment, where the other planets are in alignment, what is going on around that full moon? What are we in? Are we in Capricorn, Aquarius? We were Aquarius a lot in 2021. But right now we're in Cancer. So the full moon is in Cancer. Okay. When you sort of have to look at the Cancer energies to what those portray. But here's the thing that we had the full moon today and yesterday with the full moon, the sun joined Pluto. Okay, so we've got the two things, and then the full moon is opposite of Pluto. So, what does that mean for you guys? There might be, and let me tell you guys, I've witnessed this in the last couple of days. Praise God that I have had 2 days off because these energies, because I'm so, so sensitive to energies, have been pounding me for 3 days. And I'll tell you exactly these energies I'm gonna share with you. So if these are things that are going on, whether they're in your relationship, whether they're in your job, whether they're in just your friends, whatever it is, just sort of back off it and be okay. Because it'll pass. As soon as these next 3 days go, usually the energies are strong on a full moon 3 days before you have the full moon, and about 3 days after, then things begin to dissipate. Okay, depending on what's the planets. So the thing is with this full moon, we call this full moon the wolf's moon. Some people call it that. It's the also the almanac, and you can research that kind of stuff. Why is it called the wolf's moon? Because the moon is so bright, it's cold, and wolves use they used to say, whether it's a myth or not, I'm not a historian, but they say the wolves would howl very loudly because they were hungry. So their food, because we're in the winter, their food was was not plenty enough, so they were very hungry, so they would howl at them. Okay. Sort of like the moon card in tarot. You know, you got two dogs howling at the moon, right? They're hungry. All right. So anyway, let's get back to the full moon. So the full moon is joined with Pluto, and it's also opposite of Pluto. What does that mean? Power struggles, wants dominion, wants to have some control, wants to it's like a drive that you need to be in control of something. Okay. And the thing is, with the secrecy, we're going back to the retrograde again, is that something needs to come out, something needs to be shared. So for some of you, you might have actually, like maybe last month or 2 months ago, saying, man, I really made a mistake. I really wished I would have shared this information, or I really wished, I missed that opportunity. So I really wished I had that opportunity again. This is the time that you want to do that. We have Uranus, it's stationary direct tomorrow, so that makes things more complicated. And with the retrograde, it's going to be harder to say your words. Maybe writing something down before you say it, especially if it's really, really important. If you have something you need to share with a partner or work, maybe I'm getting something that somebody has something at work that they know something that they haven't shared with their HR or their boss that needs to be shared. This is something that is an ethical and identity. What do you call it? Not identity, integrity thing. So I don't know who that is for, but if there's some type of communication at your work that you need to be sharing, again, you may have missed the opportunity before, but it's now. Maybe there's an employee that's not honest, or maybe there's an employee that's bullying somebody. I don't know what that is. I don't know, or however, I'm getting a download. Somebody's got something going on at work that needs to be shared either with HR or your boss. Okay. That's the kind of thing I'm talking about with this full moon. Um, we are actually we're trying to drive things out, because with this new year, and what the astrologers are saying is that this new year is sort of giving us breathing room. And in your readings, I'll say we have the number 10 come up a lot this last week. And it came up a lot. Hey, Abigail, welcome. This number 10 came up a lot this last week because 2022 is going to give us more breathing room. And it's also getting us sort of separated from 2020 and 2021. What does that mean? It means we're starting to come out of it. So, what you want to make sure that you're doing is getting rid of some of this old baggage, or these old relationships, or this old past, or this old job that just isn't working anymore, and giving you some relief and release. Again, 2022, we're getting to separate from those energies from the past. We're not done. We're not done, guys. As I tell you about energies, remember I talk about the birthing process, and unfortunately men can't feel it. However, they can understand and sort of sympathize that we go through that pain of contraction, and then there's a release. And then there's another contraction and another release. As that baby moves down the chute, the canal, we're sort of there. We're sort of towards the end of the canal, but those contractions, which is your communication, your difficult time to communicate with this retrograde, or trying to get something out that needs to get out, or shared that needs to get something secrets hanging in somebody's life. I don't know who that is, but this secrecy thing, it's got to go. It's just got to go. You got to be able to be transparent with somebody. But we're actually, and the reason why I say that, because this is a complex time. This is a time where we really have to think what we want to say. Is this a good time to say it? Where do I say it? How do I say it? Do I say it? Please don't do it in text. If there's something you got to talk about with somebody, please don't do it in a text, because the energies you feel through a text is nothing compared to what you see in person. Okay, so this retrograde full moon, really be in present in the moment when you do it. Okay, I don't know who that's for. Um, but this is really sort of a deep commitment to you. It's a deep commitment to another person with this full moon, because we're in the psychological part of our thinking. This is where the retrograde, Uranus, Venus, full moon are actually focusing in on. And there's light at the end of the tunnel. We can actually now see that pinpoint of light. If you talk to people who have had near death experience, they'll always talk about if they're in the dark, there's a pinpoint of light. We have that pinpoint of light right now. We're not quite there. And it doesn't mean it's going to be a rough year. It's just going to be more quiet because now we've, in 2021, 2020, we had to really go through a freaking ton of adjustment and accepting those things and moving through those things. In 2022, now we've got a new um, uh, strain of virus, right? And this is going to keep happening, guys. These new strains are going to keep popping up over and over. But this strain now, yeah, we're at a high peak here in Oregon. We're getting to a high peak of that. However, we're like, okay, here we go again. We're sort of used to it. It's becoming quieter. Everything is becoming quieter. With this full moon, that's what's going to happen. Although it's not going to happen until after the retrograde because there's so much power, there is so much control that needs to be given. I will tell you guys from a secular to spiritual way of living, which I used to be, is that if you release the power, if you release the control of having to have that human control over something, your life is going to be more peaceful. I've taught this to my daughter, and she is now 26 and she fought it for 25 years and now she's understanding it and she goes, you're right, mom, it's much more peaceful to let divine guide you, to let him show you what you need to do, because then you can see the building blocks all stack up and what life is going to do. This is the hard part of the moon. This is the hard part of everything, this power struggle that you're going to have. Now you might be having a power struggle which is called a spiritual battle within you, or you might be having a power struggle with someone. Okay, we don't have a power struggle with things, we have a power struggle with someone. So that is something to really, really pay attention to through this retrograde. Let me see if there's anything else. Um, on the 18th, which is tomorrow, Mercury actually goes direct, or excuse me, Uranus goes direct. What does that mean? And this is what the new moon, and this is what 2020 is going to bring. It's a new energy, it's a new territory. So it might be a conversation or something that you need to have that with somebody. I had this, when I was studying the moon this morning, finishing up my notes and praying. I was sitting there going, that's why. I didn't have a power struggle, but I had to take somebody aside and share that what they were doing was not healthy for for being an employee, and that to help them and better them. Whereas they thought that I was trying to have a power struggle. It's like the mindset of this person is quite more immature. But the thing is that they've got to understand it's not a power struggle. It's something to help and grow them in love. And he even told them I loved them, I hugged them, and it's just like, you know what, you gotta buck it up and you gotta start to have responsibility. It's not a power struggle. So be really mindful at what you're talking, why you're talking, and who you're talking with, and making sure that it's not a power struggle, but it's just to help somebody, lift somebody up in love and light. All right. I'm gonna do this reading a little bit differently. And if you have questions, if you popped in again, I'm going to give an announcement right now because I didn't give it before. Okay. Says I want that card. I was gonna shuffle more, and he's like, no, I want that card. Um, So, but the announcement, guys, is in 2022, if you have gone to my website and thought about getting coaching or a reading or whatever, or if you have contacted me, I've had people all over the world, and I thank you guys for being community and actually reaching out and think that I can help you. I really, really appreciate that because that's all I want to do. Divine has asked me to back up on, and actually I feel much better about it. I told him thank you, is that anybody who is a subscriber and they need a reading or they need coaching or whatever, it's only going to be by donation. Okay, so what you see on my website as far as prices, those will be for non-subscription people on my YouTube. However, if you're subscribed and you need a reading, let's sit down and talk. If you need coaching, let's sit down and talk. Can't afford it, you can't afford it. Just let's sit down and talk. Send me an email. Divine has said this is a gift. I want you to go and help. And if they can't afford it, they'll do it anyway. And I agree. I agree with him 100%. I really struggled with putting a price on my gift. I really still have a struggle with doing that. So if you're a subscriber to my channel, please know that my services to you are free. If you want to make a donation, you can. Can't, but you don't have to. So I have people all over the world that come to me and I feel wonderful. But it felt like 1,000,000 pounds lifted off on me, guys, because I love my community and I'm here to help with my gifts of experience and wisdom that he. So hopefully that will help you guys. And the other thing is I'm going to be putting a new video out about how I do my tarot, because it is different, and I'm really excited about the new channel. However, I am waiting for Divine to say go. So the new channel is Transformation by Divine. Um, and it's more of a spiritual coaching kind of a thing from experiences he's given. It's more of videos about how to help you through life. If you've watched some of my videos about communication and all that kind of stuff, you've already seen how sort of how I work, but it's going to be for more. All right. So let's go through with these into the reading, and don't hesitate. If you got any questions while you're in here, great. Say, ask if you want to tell me where you're from, if you're new, or if you just want to share. I would love that. I would love that from you. All right. So we're going to go into three things. I'm asking Divine what he wants to say about the full moon and the retrograde to you. I'm going to go into also current energies of the retrograde. These are going to be energies of the retrograde. And then I'm going to do the other oracles of the full moon. Okay, so I want to see where we're at with some of you, because everybody is in a different sign. Everybody has different rising signs, has all that kind of stuff. So it all just depends where your sign is at, where the full moon is at, what you're in right now, and all that kind of stuff. All right. And then we'll go into a reading. Oh man, isn't that really true? Wow. I can't make this stuff up. I really can't. So Divine is saying during this time with retrograde and the full moon, really seek sacred reverence. Okay, this is the number 11, which is the number 2. So this is to bring, and it does talk a lot about the astrologers talk about your core foundation and your core energies, where they're coming from, that kind of a thing. If you're really struggling, your core is off balance. If you should be, even in the hardest of hardest times, you should still have some form of calmness and peace in you, even though, because it's like saying, okay, if I'm going through double toothpicks and I'm like, okay, fine, I don't know why I'm going through this, I hate going through this or whatever, you just have to know that it's going to pass. Okay, so what is this? It's the number 2 in numerology, and he says, you need to seek love, you need to seek where it is. I was thinking about this morning and praying about it when I was talking to this person. Did I do it in love, or did I do it for a power struggle? I was thinking about this as I'm talking. Why am I sharing this with her in this manner? Why am I doing this in this manner? Because it wasn't a really soft way of doing it. It's like a mother spanking a child. Don't you do that, kind of a thing. It's like, why am I doing it that way? And so I had to, as I am speaking, I'm asking Divine, am I doing this in love? And he's like, yes. So are we doing it in love, or whatever we're communicate? Are we making a difference to that person, to a higher vibration? Okay. So, or if you have to share some information, whatever this is, make sure it's just not a power struggle, an earthly secular power struggle. Don't make sure, seek Divine, even as you're talking to somebody. Hey, is this what I should be saying? Should I not be saying this? He'll give you a message, an answer, or he'll stop the conversation, or something will have you change or switch gears. Trust me, it works. It really, really works. Um, so the retrograde energy is the ringmaster of scrutiny. So it's discreetment, clear vision, and details. Okay. So it's the number 9. Really pay attention to this with the retrograde. Really pay attention that you're making a clear way of talking, Because sometimes if I say it's blue, oh, that car is blue, somebody will be thinking, well, me, it's sort of green, you know? So somebody's perspective is not yours. So be really clear in and be very detailed in your conversations. This is number 9 in the universe. So it's like, okay, really pay attention to the detail for this. And again, we've got two things going on: divine saying discernment. Look at the discernment. Look at Pay attention to your intuition. Really listen to it. If your intuition is saying, no, don't say that right now, don't, because something's meaning that it's not the right time. Maybe the person will take it the wrong way. Maybe the person will look at it in a different way than you're thinking they're looking. Well, if I say this, I'm saying this happened with my boss the other day. She had to email me something and she put something in big cap letters and underlined it. And I took it like, really? But when she came back and she apologized, she goes, I bet you that looked this way. And I said, yeah, it did. But she goes, here's why I said it, and I should have said it differently. Yes. So really, really be careful in your details and ask divine really if you should be saying it. Okay, so the full moon energy, guys, is the wasp. Anger, retaliation, jealousy, and it's the so somebody out there is got a lot of bitterness in them, got a lot of anger. Something happened, uh, probably in the last month or two, and then you're angry about it. You're bitter. These are negative, low vibrational energies that you're holding on to, and you cannot move to a higher light with them. I'll tell you right now, you can't. You have to release those. This is the time. 2021 is going to be more, or 20, excuse me, 2022 is going to be more of a quiet time, guys. It's going to be more of a maintain kind of a year. It's going to be like, okay, we got through the HE double toothpicks in 2020 and 2021, and now it's going to be sort of a maintaining type of year. It's going to be more of a quiet year. It's at least the start of a quiet year. And we're not going to see some of these repercussions of how you act this month into next month. So if you do something, or if you come back and you say, wow, I wish I would have had the chance to say that before, and you do it now, there might be some responsibility and accountability to that. Okay. But the moon is telling me somebody out there is very angry and very bitter and very jealous about someone. I don't know who that is, but something happened in the last month or two that you're very angry about it. This is that power struggle, guys. This is that energy that is needing that control. And when somebody wants to retaliate, somebody wants to get back at somebody, wrong thing to do. Wrong thing to do, guys. This is not a good thing to do. Revenge, retaliation, anything. Let divine do it, because I'll tell you right now, his vengeance is a lot worse than what you could ever do, and I have witnessed it. Not on me, but I've wanted to retaliate way back in my secular days. And as I was growing spiritually, I said, no, I'm gonna let you handle it. And he literally showed me what he did to that person. I could have never done that bad to that person. So really be mindful when you're angry, and is somebody's really got a power trip. Somebody's so full of pride and ego right now. Um, Somebody's so full of pride and ego right now. That is control. And you know what? That's fear. Here's the thing I look at with somebody with a lot of, we've got a gentleman that's full of pride and ego at work. And when I look at him, I look at him with sadness, because that pride and ego comes from fear, and he has to control everything or want to control everything. And that and actually, I don't know if it's my empath abilities or whatever, or my clairvoyance, but I see him as a little boy, and that he's so afraid, and it started way back then. All right. So this power trip can be a pride or ego. Somebody I feel is angry because somebody is with somebody or around somebody that is very prideful, very ego. The other one is that somebody with this full moon feels that it's so unfair that that anger is right there. It's like, why do they get? It's sort of like when you talk about God, it's like, why would God give everybody, somebody who's a horrible, horrible person, all this stuff? Because stuff doesn't matter to him. It doesn't matter to him. Material things is the first dimension. It's an earthbound thing. It doesn't matter. What he does care about is where that person's heart is. And if that person's heart needs healing or is broken or whatever, and it's up to that person. So again, it doesn't matter what is in the first dimension in that. So, but somebody definitely is angry out there. This is your full moon if you want to be angry, because this is all about power. Not a good thing to be. All right. So here we go, guys. I'm going to do a spread. And if you tuned in late, again, I'm talking about the full moon retrograde, and I'm also doing some astrology, numerology, and then I'm doing a basic reading for what's going on with the full moon and the retrograde. Definitely. And that if you came in late, I am giving free readings and coachings if you're a subscriber. Ignore my webpage if you're a subscriber. I just ask if you can donate. That's great. If you can't, buy me a cup of coffee, whatever. If you can donate, great. And if not, that's fine too. Yeah, definitely somebody's having a power stroke. Definitely having a power stroke. Now, if you're not in a relationship, we'll see if it's with your boss. Somebody's seeking wisdom. Remember, the very first card out, Divine's card, is the sacred record. Somebody is seeking knowledge of the second dimension. Okay, this is a good thing. It's a good thing. Change is coming for somebody. This is a good thing. This is a good thing, guys, because it's going to quiet your life. I don't know who this is for. Remember, we're still in Mercury retrograde. We've got Uranus direct. Okay. And it's also meaning that we're moving forward. This is a good thing. We're moving and we're actually getting some breathing room. We're releasing all the crap in our life. And then we're also getting to the point where it's like, yes, now I can move forward because I don't have all this crap. And I can just say, you know what? It's sort of like cleaning your house in the spring. And it's like, wow, I just got rid of all the junk and my house is sort of clean and clear. That's that energy. You do that with your soul and your spirit as well. Your spirit tries to tell you, hey, let's clean this mess up inside. But a lot of people are just, um, okay. I love this because I'm very intuitive, extremely intuitive. So I love this because your first card out is the Queen of Cups. What is Queen of Cups all about? And what did I say? If you're talking to somebody, listen to your intuition. Listen to that little voice or that nudge or whatever saying, yeah, go ahead and tell them. Go ahead and talk to them. Go ahead and share this. Somebody's boss, you need to share whatever is going on at work. You need to share that. I don't know who that's for again, and that was in the beginning. But whatever it is, you need to share it. Um, you can't judge people. Okay. We've got the judgment card, and then we have a couples card. So here's the problem I see here, and here's the good thing that I see here with this full moon is that, and the retrograde, you're going to talk about things, you're going to share things, you're going to share it in truth. However, you got to release and back it up. Okay, you're giving the information, then you got to back up and wait. Don't start thinking, oh, well, they're thinking this way or whatever, they're feeling this way. Don't do that because you need to allow them to process. Whenever I talk to certain male friends, because I know with males, give them the information, they got to go away and process it. Some may process it a few minutes, an hour or 2 hours, some may process it for a day or two. However, you go let them process that information, and then they can come back and give you their perspective on it. Okay, that's what these lovers are about. Somebody is again in either a relationship or friendship or whatever. Remember, there's something secret also too that somebody needs to share with somebody. I don't know who that's for, but the thing is, you need to share this, or you've been holding back on it. It's sort of like I don't want to go there. It's sort of like if you start dating. Okay, I'm going to give this as a hypothetical. If you start dating and maybe somebody, maybe you or somebody else has this STD like herpes that never goes away, and you don't share that, you've got to share that at some point. This is the time. It's not a power struggle. It's not anything, but you have to share it. Okay, and that's what's going on is you have to share this, you have to get it out. And it's even though you don't want to, this is a time to do it with the full moon. It's and with the retrograde. You have to be clear because you need to know if that person needs to be in your life or not. So whatever that is, for me, I share sexual abuse with that partner that I'm thinking is going to be a long-term partner. And it's very hard. It's very scary to share that information because it's like, okay, here I go. I'm going to tell them about that because I have triggers that are in that area. And even though I'm healed, I have to live with it. Now, if you haven't watched my series of the sexual abuse of surviving, healing, living with, please watch that. If you are a sexual abuse survivor, or you know somebody. But the thing is, there's a trigger. I need to let that person know when is the right time. I listen to my intuition when it's the right time. Okay. So this is something that's going on. And you don't judge that person for them. It's just you're supposed to be in their life or they're not. Okay. That's the same with the job. That's the same with your friends, or whatever. You begin to share information that's really important. This is the full moon in retrograde to get deep down to the core, the root chakra. We need to get to the root chakra and actually build a stronger bond and relationship. We do that through a spiritual bond. Okay, that is your center card. That is your center card wisdom. Somebody is so angry though. Oh my goodness, who is flipping angry? I want to know who you are. Text me, email me, whatever. Because we're going to work through that. Anger is from fear. Anger is from fear. So I don't know who that is. You got to reach out for divine, really, again, sacred one. Because when you're in fear, there's not love. There's no love in fear because you don't love yourself to work through it. You don't love another person because you fear what they're going to say, what they're going to do. You're in the secular first world, in the first dimension. And when you're in the second dimension, okay, yes, you want some people in your life. However, what I find interesting is this first part of the spread is about your intuition, paying attention, how you're going to say things, how you're going to do things, how you're going to share things, because the wisdom's in the center. That's your intuition. That's the wisdom. That's the spiritual wisdom. And as part of this reading, somebody said it's going to go to hell in a handbasket. I don't know wherever that term came from, but hell in a handbasket means it's going to all fall apart. But that's okay because it's the tower and it's time to change. Okay. So thank you. So here's the thing that I'm going to share with you. It's all going to get really messy for a little bit. That's not a bad thing. Here's the thing, when change happens, we fight it ourselves or somebody else fights change, even if it's to the next vibration, the higher frequency, the higher self. Here's, I'll give you that hypothetical of the person I was talking to at work, is that they saw it as a spanking. They saw it as something that I wasn't on their side. They saw it like that. However, when they go away to process that, and I kept telling them, I love you, you can do better. I know you're a hard worker. I know that you can do this. I know that I can see this in you, the potential, but you got to be honest. The absolute honest. When you lie, when you're deceitful, it keeps you back. Okay. So that's their tower. It feels like it's falling apart, but it's actually coming together because they're going to go back and they're probably going to hate me, and that's fine. But the thing is, it came from divine. And the thing is, when we say something, we get a spanking or whatever, we hate it, especially as children, because we cognitively can't understand it. But as adults, when you have a difference of opinion, when you have something that you're, I don't argue with people anymore and I don't fight at all because it's just a matter of perspective. But the thing is, when you have those things, you think it's really a bad thing and then you go and apologize or whatever. It's not. It's bringing something to a higher level. It's breaking a bond. Okay. It's breaking an earthly bond. You've got something that is breaking. And this is beautiful because when I looked at the planets and everything, this is a breakthrough time. This is a beautiful time to break through. This is a beautiful time to make things happen. This is a beautiful time to share what you need to share, get things out, even if it's at work. If you have to go to HR, if you have to go to your boss, I don't know who this keeps coming up. There's something going on that's not good in somebody's work. You really need to let HR know or let your boss know. I don't know what that is. Okay. Because at the end, we have the sun. Okay. We have the sun, which means that there is a new, fresh, pure, moving forward feeling. It is the breakthrough. It is the baby coming out of the, it's the, we're in the crowning time, but this is the baby. I think this is going to come probably after the retrograde because we have to get through the junk. We have to get through the mud. So imagine yourself stuck in the mud right now. You're stuck. You can't get out. And then all of a sudden you find a way to move forward a little bit. You're in the center of this pool of mud and you're like, oh wow, if I just shuffle and get to the side. But if I try to take a big step, I'm staying stuck, or my boots are going to stay stuck and I'm going to be trying to move forward. So you'll find a way to break through that energy. That's the devil card. And the change card is that you're trying to move through that. You're trying to speak through it. You're trying to process. You're trying to see what somebody else's perspective is. You're getting working through this moon energy of anger and a power struggle and all that. That is first dimension. You're working through that, and at the very end, the baby comes out. You're very rewarded. You're very happy. It's a pure, light, full energy, and you feel a release. I hope I explained it good enough. Somebody is really going to be changing. Now, I want to say, whoever this is who's bitter and angry, you've really got to look at the details of why you are. I don't know who this is for, but Divine says, share the experience. And I'm like, okay, so when I would get very angry in my secular self, in my worldly self, I was angry at maybe something else, or I was disappointed, or I was depressed about something. But when he had me really do my inner work, then I saw that it was my decision that was causing that spiral down effect. And what was I angry at? I should have been angry at myself for not having a higher vibration, higher frequency of love to be absolute truthful. Okay. So, where is your anger coming from? Whoever this is for, where's your anger coming from? And did you have a part in it, or was it a decision that you could have made better? Okay. And why are you jealous? Jealous is an insecurity. Somebody's jealous. So, in that insecurity, what is that? That's fear. You have to go back. The moon and the retrograde is all about going back to that root chakra where it started, that core of where it started. So, if you're jealous or angry, where did it start? I had to go back. Divine's like, no, you go back to further. And I'm like, well, it started. No, you go back further. Well, how about here? And he's, nope, further. And I'm like, are you serious? I had to go back to where I was a little girl because I started lying and being manipulative and doing things from a little girl because I was scared because I was being sexually abused. And I thought if I can lie and look like I'm good, even though I thought I was bad, then that grew that root all the way up into my adulthood. And that first dimension, that secular life that I had was really twisted and broken because of where my root chakra was. All right. All right. So let's see if we can get any clarification if Divine wants to clarify. This is a beautiful breakthrough. Somebody's going to be breaking through in their relationship. Somebody's going to be seeking wisdom. That's from the first dimension. That's helping them get through that. Somebody's going to be more clear in how they learn how to articulate themselves. Somebody is going to learn that the more details you give about what you need to share or what you need is going to bring you more clarity, a bond much closer. Actually, it could be a bond that's closer at work. You're finally getting used to it, you're finally understanding it. This is a learning process. Why? Because we have the three pentacles. That somebody is learning a lesson and somebody is teaching a lesson. Person who's learning the lesson, though, you got to be really careful because there is a power struggle. And it's like I'll go back to pride again. I'll go back to pride and I'll go back to ego and stubbornness. Those three things will keep you in that mud, in the middle of the mud pile. And even though you want to shuffle, and that might be helpful and that might be the solution to get out of the mud pile, you're going to stay stuck because even though you're shuffling, but Patty, you said shuffling is going to work. Yeah, it is going to work, but your mindset isn't, because you want out for the wrong reasons. You want out to keep the how do I put this? That you're not walking in absolute truth with yourself, let alone it's like this girl's like, well, I said, don't think I'm a fool. I am not a fool. I can see. I'm in my 60s. I can see and I know I've been around the block too many times. I know what you're doing. And so this deer in headlights look is like, what? So you're not walking in the truth. You can't get out of the mud if you don't start being truthful, not earthly truthful, but spiritual, absolute truth. And that is love. Okay. So that's the lesson for somebody this next couple of weeks. Because here's the thing, it's going to release you. Where is it going to release you? In the most important element in your life, from the earth way of thinking to the spiritual way. And what is that? Love. Because you begin to love yourself, and then you can love somebody else, and you can communicate that better, more clearly when you face what the truth is for you. And temperance. Temperance is about creating patience, being still, putting that back and forth. We live in two worlds. We live in a spiritual world, whether you believe it or not. We live in two worlds. We live in the spiritual world, which is your spirit, your intuition. This is part of you that you can't explain. Science can't explain it. They never will be able to explain it. And then you live in the first dimension, which is this world, this great big green ball. And we're going back and forth, but where do you which cup are you? Where do you make your decisions? This is, again, the retrograde and the full moon energies to get back to that root chakra. Where do you make your decisions from? Are you making them from spirit? Hey, hey, up there, hey, around there. Actually, spirit's everywhere. He's energy. However, and that's why people go to the universe. Universe is energy. Astrology is energy, the energy of the planets. That's why I look at all of that. Numerology is sort of an earth thing, but I love looking at it. But I do pay attention to the astrology and divine what he made. They're all energy, and he created it. So the thing is, you have to look at what cup you're in. Really? Okay. So lastly, he wants to know what cup you're in. Are you really thinking from a earthbound? Is first dimension really matter? Is first dimension your Mercury retrograde? You have to have power. You have to have control. The hardest thing to do is release control. It is to surrender it all. It is very, 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 very hard. That's why you need coach. That's why you need a support person to help you through it. If you're not used to it, you will fall back to the earth, because that is part of being a human being. However, if you work from the other cup, which is the spiritual cup is full of peace, calmness, and you don't have to worry about making decisions, because divine will help you make those decisions for you. Yes, you have free will to make a decision. That's why when I do your readings and I say the future energy is up to you, I cannot say, because that may happen, it may not happen. It just depends on how your brain is saying, well, I'm not going to pay attention to my intuition. I'm going to go this way. Then the whole outcome may be different. The energy outcome may be different. But if you follow your intuition and divine says go this way, and you follow that way, that energy is going to be different, but it's also very. So which cup are you making your decisions from? Well, Patty, I really don't know. I really don't know which way. Well, you can't be on the fence. And you know why? If you're on the fence of which way, or you're trying to play both ways, when you listen to religious groups, it's like they'll go to church on Sunday, but then you turn around, they leave the parking lot and they're cussing and they're smoking and they're, gossiping and all that kind of stuff. They're living on both sides of the fence. Okay. Not everybody does that. However, what you want to do is make sure that your root chakra is coming from which one, and stay there. Because the thing is, well, I shouldn't say stay there, thank you. So he's like, no, because you don't want to stay in the earthbound. You want to stay in the spiritual bound, because it just becomes more easy. How do I know? I've been there. And I would love for everybody to have abundance. And this anger and jealousy, it lasts no more. Your depression lasts no more. Your anxiety no more. Yes, there's some medical conditions. However, if you make a decision which way you're going to put your root chakra, then you will begin to heal. You'll begin to move life. You'll begin to change your life. You'll begin to break bonds that are not healthy for you. You'll begin to break habits. You'll begin to break toxic relationships, toxic family members. You'll be able to walk away and stay away from those. Okay. And your life is a lot more. This is why the last part of your reading is so intense, because there is some things that you do need to do to get to the sun. Okay. And that's the thing. But it's a spiritual walk, and it's a quiet walk, it's a patient walk. It's one that once you get there, you'll never want to go back. You'll never want to go back to your secular ways, or you're broken. Like when I was like I said, when I was sexually abused, I grew up from my root chakra learning how to lie, how to deceive, how to be manipulative, and all that kind of stuff. And that's the way I was until I was in my late 30s. And I thought that was okay because I didn't know any better. Okay, because I didn't really know what was happening or why I was making the decisions until I made the spiritual switch, and I made all my decisions through divine. And you'll be really, really surprised when you do switch and say, you know what, I'm going to ask God for everything first. How do I do this? How do I move? Where do you want me to go? What's my purpose? Blah, 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 blah. And then you are going to see your life shift, and you're going to see your intuition open up. You're going to see your spiritual, supernatural gifts begin to open. So if you ever wanted to have your supernatural gifts, they're there, but you got to unlock the key. You can't unlock them in the secular world. You can't. And in fact, my daughter's learning that, and she's seeing that, and she's like, wow, this. Yes, it is. And so we need to understand that if somebody is not for you, they're against you. And this is the thing is, the reason why I'm saying that is because so many people will maybe support you, maybe not support you in this change of whatever you're doing in these next 30 days. Okay, this is the Mercury retrograde, guys. This is the full moon energies till that new moon. But if they're not for you, they are against you. You don't need to be around that right now. That's toxic. Okay, you want people that are going to support you in this change, help you. It's like dieting. You don't want people around that are eating all junk food when you're trying to eat healthy. You go around people that are eating healthy. Go around people with like mind, as the Bible says, like minded people. Okay, that kind of a thing. All right. So big energies. They're actually energies to move you into a new area, new energies. We're breaking away from those old energies. We're coming out of the birthing canal. We're actually crowning. We're getting there. We can see the little bit of the light of the tunnel. We're actually working through this last phase of stuff that we need to get through. We're not going to be angry and jealous. We're going to check ourselves and say, why am I angry? Why am I jealous? Oh, it's fear, it's insecurity. Insecurity is fear. If you got to go back to that root chakra, everything that you do for the next 30 days, go through that. I'm on a 21-day fast right now for divine. I need more clarity. I want more clarity in what my future is going to hold. I want to know some of these specifics that I need to do. I can't get the specifics if I've got so much noise going on out here. So 21-day fast, what does that do? It brings me closer because I have to sacrifice something that I really, really want so that I can focus on divine and the message and the downloads that he's going to give me during that time. Amazing. Let me trust. I'm actually. It's a biblical thing, but we 21 days of no meat and no sweets. And if you know me, even my daughter's like, "You're doing good, mom," because I love my at least even a little piece of candy bar a day. I have to have my sweet, but I'm not doing it, taking it. So a 20 and fasting is really really a good way to get closer to divine as well. So if you've never fasted, you could do a 7-day fast and say, I'm going to fast away from something that you really like, and you stay away from it, because the thing is, when you sacrifice something, you're saying, divine, I want this more than what this is, because this is earthbound. You are spiritual bound. So you're saying, I want this more than my sweets. I want your clarity. I want your wisdom. I want the answer. I want the sign or the confirmation more so than I want this sweet. And then he's knowing that you're 100% serious about whatever it is, or in your walk or your journey. All right. I don't know who all that was for. I don't know why he had me go off on all these tangents. I didn't expect it to be this long, but I hope it sure helps somebody. Again, I hope that you have a great couple weeks. This is going to be an intense couple weeks, but it's a breakthrough. It's a time that we now can start moving forward, breaking away from the garbage and the crap in your life, and actually lifting yourself up in love, light, your journey where you're supposed to be going. All right. I hope this was helpful. Please don't forget to like, share, subscribe. And remember, if you are a subscriber and you need a reading or if you need some coaching or that kind of a nature, whether it be fitness or, spiritual or secular, whatever kind of coaching, then just go ahead and email me, make a comment or whatever, and I'll get in touch with you. It's free. You can donate if you like to, or buy a cup of coffee for me if you like to, but you don't have to pay anything. All right. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful week, and we will see you on your next reading. All the readings are done for this week from the 17th through the 23rd. I had 2 days off together, so I was able to do some stuff. And I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful week. You're very welcome, Felix. Thank you for hanging in there for the whole hour. I appreciate it. Take care, you guys. Don't forget to walk in absolute truth. This is the cup. Which one are you walking? You're walking no absolute truth, that's secular. If you're walking absolute truth, you're walking in find the highest, highest self of you that there ever is. Take care and walk in love. Bye bye.